What's up everyone, I'm Money and this is Melty Collects. Now when you think of graffiti, you probably picture spray paint, big colorful murals, or quick tags on walls and trains. But one of the most important tools in graffiti's history isn't an aerosol can at all. It's a sticker, a collectible one, and not just any sticker. A simple, free mailing label that you can pick up at your local post office. Today we're diving into the world of sticker culture, the rise of USPS Label 228, and why it's become a global icon in street art. Graffiti has always been something I noticed and appreciated. Growing up, I had friends who were into punk, hardcore, and hip-hop, so I was around those cultures from a pretty young age. I even dabbled in writing myself, and to this day, if you hand me a set of crayons at a restaurant, I'm going to flip over the placemat and leave my mark. It's one of those things that I never grew out of and I never stopped appreciating. Part of what drew me in was stickers. Long before Label 228, stickers had a huge place in underground art. Graffiti artists were using "Hello, my name is" stickers to throw up quick tags, skaters were slapping decals on every surface they could find, and punk bands were printing their own to spread the word. Stickers were cheap, fast, and portable. They were a way to get your name out or your art out without needing a wall or a spray can. To further emphasize this point, remember when I unboxed that one-of-one toy from Mr. Mars? Well, look at the bag that it came in. There's a custom print, and he chose the "Hello, my name is" sticker as part of the design. That just shows how deep the imagery runs, even outside of pure graffiti culture. In 1991, the USPS officially introduced Label 228. It was meant for priority mail, but artists immediately saw the potential. Bigger than a name tag, free to grab in stacks from the post office, and perfect for markers, paint, pens, stencils, or even full screen prints. You could draw at home, throw a stack in your bag, and then just slap them up as you walked around the city. Martha Cooper was one of the first photographers to notice this shift. She pointed out that graffiti artists had traded up from name tags to these priority mail labels, probably because of their blank space, strength, and easy access. She later published a book called Going Postal, which highlights how postal stickers became a serious canvas in street art. That combination of accessibility and versatility made Label 228 a secret weapon in graffiti culture. They weren't just for tagging anymore. People were creating full illustrations, characters, logos, and turning these free mailing labels into miniature works of art. It even reached the point where there is now a dedicated Wikipedia entry just for Label 228 itself. That gives you an idea of how deeply its place in culture runs. Now, oddly enough, there was another artist who decided the movement needed to be documented around the same time. And because of how much work goes into releasing a book and how close the release dates were, it's likely that both projects were already in motion without either artist even knowing the other existed. And that's where Camden Noir comes in. In 2009, he published Label 228, a street art project. The book pulled together more than 1,500 works from over 600 artists around the world. It wasn't just a book of stickers though, it was a snapshot of an entire underground culture, showing how different people were using the same little rectangle to create wildly different art. I actually met Camden back in the late 2000s, probably around 2008, and over the years, he's become a good friend of mine. Here's a picture from when he stopped through to hang out on his way to New York recently. Fast forward 15 years, and Camden has done it again. Label 228 Volume 2 is finally here, with hundreds of new pieces from both veterans and fresh names in the scene. Now, I haven't cracked this one open yet, but that is what excites me the most. Getting to flip through it, compare it to Volume 1, it's basically comparing two eras of street art side by side. What makes Label 228 so important isn't just the art itself, it's what the label represents. It's a piece of government stationery turned into a global canvas. It's an example of how artists can take something ordinary and make it extraordinary. Make it matter even when it doesn't matter to the everyday person. These labels have traveled across cities, countries, and continents. Artists trade them through the mail, collaborate on them, and even stick them up in places far from where they started. They're basically postcards from the underground, spreading graffiti styles across the world. And even though they were never designed to last, people do collect them. They trade them, archive them, and now even buy books filled with them. In a way, they've become just as iconic as a spray-painted wall, but on a scale that anyone can hold in their hands. Now, while I don't actually collect the labels themselves, I love the books, I love the culture. It's wild to think that something designed for mailing packages became one of the most influential tools in graffiti history. A free label that anyone can pick up at the post office ended up shaping an entire movement. And the beauty of Label 228 is that it belongs to anyone who wants to use it. So whether you're a kid sketching at home, a seasoned graffiti writer, or someone just wanting to make them and mail them across the world to trade, everybody approaches that same little rectangle differently. And when you put all those pieces together, you really get this giant collective canvas that tells the story of street art itself. So now, with Label 228, Volume 2, finally out, we get to see how that story has changed over the past 15 years. What themes have stuck around, what new styles have emerged, and what voices are helping shape that culture today. And for me, I gotta say that's the fun part. Flipping through the pages, seeing the evolution side by side, and seeing that visual conversation between generations of artists, all speaking through the same medium. Now, I have my copy right here. I've had it since June, and I still haven't opened it. I've been waiting to do a video or something to highlight the significance of the book. Before we do that, I want to flip through a couple pages of volume 1 and show you what the first version looked like from 2009. Alright, so first, before we get into this, I just want to take a second to flip through a couple pages of the volume 1 and show you, what I mean when I say that everybody approaches the little rectangle differently. Now keep in mind, this one is from 2009. And graffiti's been around for a long time, and I'm sure we're gonna see some themes present in both. We're gonna see variations of people putting their name or full illustrations, stencils, things like that. And he really had some big names out there. I mean, a lot of people are familiar with these books, and it's pretty impressive to see how far it reached and how many big names I recognize when looking through it. Even some of the most prominent people that I followed for years are in volume 1, so it's pretty cool. So, all right, and I'll do a couple like up close shots and stuff like that, but this is volume 1, and right off the bat, you can see the different labels, and some of the art that he chose from the front, I love, but I'm gonna flip through and just show you a couple pieces to highlight kind of what I was talking about in the intro. So number 1, he actually included some of these labels as part of the packaging or the packing process, and I think it's pretty cool because just in these 2 labels you can really see how, I'm guessing they changed. I don't know if it was a monetary thing or they thought too many people were using them for the wrong reasons or what, but this label here is from 2006, and this one is significantly bigger than the one from 2008. I think it's pretty cool that they put the dates at the bottom. It says label 228 February 2006, label 228 January 2008, and that's cool because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that collect the labels themselves just as documenting history or whatever, but these are 2 significantly different size pieces, as you can kind of see right there. Let me see if I can get this to focus. Let me get my face out of there. All right, set those to the side. So the first thing we're looking at here is immediately you got RWK, Robots Will Kill, a very prominent person in graffiti culture, in designer toy culture, and paintings, gallery shows, all kinds of cool stuff. Followed him for a really long time. I was actually lucky enough to snag one of his original pieces from his gallery. That happened yesterday, in fact. So once that comes in, I'm obviously going to do an unboxing, kind of like what I did with Mr. Mars. But you got that. You have some words over here. You have a very simplistic from me to you. This is actually from Cam. And something else that I really appreciate that he did was you have all of the artists down here. And you can flip back to the beginning and kind of match that up. And it's really fun to go back and forth. And if you don't recognize somebody, you can just kind of look here, look for the code, and then flip back here to see who did it. So I appreciate that he did it that way. But on this page, you can clearly see the difference in styles from words to simplistic. This is, basically nothing of the male label is even present here except for the bar. And that's another 2006 one, so that's a big label. If I flip to another one here, and you can see how some people started to get really creative and merge multiple labels together. In fact, I want to say this is 5 labels. You got 1 here, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 in the center that kind of becomes the foundation for this hand holding what I think is an original iPod. If you remember the iPods with the little touch sensitive wheel in the front and the corded headphones back when those were still a thing. And on the opposite page here, you have somebody who used it as a stencil. If I keep flipping here, you can really see, again, you got something down here that kind of looks a little more fine art. This one right here, I originally marked this page for this particular piece, which is also a piece that Cam decided to put on the cover. And you got some words here, people using it for words, pictures. Well, again, more fine art. I'm gonna flip through a couple more here. This one, a quick simple tag. This one you can see they used, it looks like multiple labels, unless that's just a blown up version. That might actually just be a single label kind of blown up for the picture. Green background, and just kind of drew over top of it. Here's multiple labels together as one piece. So big fan of this book, and I feel like every time I look through this book, I find something else that I think is just so cool. I'm very happy he decided to do a version 2, and you know, I can't believe it's taken me this long to open, but if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be able to kind of share it with everybody, and you know, that's what we're gonna do now. So now I'm going to grab the version 2. Let's get this one out of the way. Obviously had to redact a couple things, but this is the mailer it came in. And I'm gonna grab my knife here. This knife is way too big to be doing these openings. I feel like I'm always on the brink of cutting whatever product I'm trying to open. So I have another knife on the way. It's the tiniest little thing from a good friend of mine. And I can't wait till that comes in so I can stop, you know, almost cutting product or cutting my fingers. I wonder if I can just rip this open. Let me see here. I might just be able to rip it open without a knife. That would be ideal, because then I wouldn't risk cutting the book. I'd be very sad about that. Okay, so you got the custom mailer on the outside, followed by, this is a good little touch, the priority mail flat rate bubble envelope here. Good little touch, because it kind of ties it back to the label 228. What is this? Has this got its own little, nope, just a padded flat rate envelope. Can you imagine if they figured out, like graffiti artists figured out how to like use these mailer labels and somehow use these as all right. First of all, now Cameron's trolling me at this point, because I opened the custom mailer, I opened the pretty mailer, only to get a flat rate envelope. I opened that only to get a priority mail semi-rigid, not a bubble mailer, flat rate envelope. This guy's killing me. All right, we're gonna tear that open, and now I'm starting to see the book. So now we're cooking. You can see the volume 2 there. All right, this is cool. I want to kind of get a shot of volume 1, volume 2. And I already see some things peeking out the side. I don't know what he included in this one, but pretty excited about that. Love the cover, love the kind of debossed logo over top of the art itself. And let's see what we got here. So off the bat we have, oh, this is an original. So maybe I now am a collector. I don't know. Maybe with this label, I just became a collector myself. But this is one from Camden, because I can see it says Noir here. Set that to the side. Cute little sticker. I think that's him. That's a portrait. Got a label 228 sticker. And already a callback to volume 1. So remember I pointed out and said that RWK was one of my favorite artists. I'd followed him since either the early 2000s or late 90s. This image, RWK, is from him. And no one appreciates this message more than me. Clock in, clock out. That is exactly what we need to do every day. Everybody's pushing that grind culture. Grind for what you're passionate about. If that's work, that's fine. If you have a career that you are in that's a kind of creative career and you're grinding for that, that's fine as well. But do not let work consume you. All right, so this section here, these are actually, these are originals as well. So that's pretty cool. I like the, let's see, I don't think this is, yeah, this isn't a font. This is cool. He must have, well, Now I don't know, because the twos here look similar, but this is cool. I like it. Self-published, Savannah, Georgia, 2025. All right, so here is some of the information. You got his website, you got his Substack. Obviously there's an Instagram for Label 228 Project, and I'm also gonna drop that link in the description. This is another actual sticker. Like, because photos and stuff are so good nowadays, I sometimes can't tell, like, is this a sticker? Like, no, it's not. But then this one you can feel is actually on there, so. All right. Similar index as before, where you got your artist code basically, and you can go through here and find an artist you want to see. You can see the page numbers and kind of where they exist throughout the book. I gotta be honest, I very rarely look at this first. Even when I got the other book, I didn't look at this first. I really just opened the book and started to go through it. I mean, there's so many pages that you can really open it several times. Nobody's gonna sit there and go through, you know, the hundreds of pages at a single sitting, but it's great to just crack open, flip to a random page, and then look at 10, 20 pages, and then put it down. And I feel like every time I pick it up, and I've been doing this with Label or Volume 1 for years, but every time I pick it up, I find something else cool. So I'm gonna kind of skip over that. We're on page 13, my lucky number, and I see a sticker from Camden here. So I like this little message here, no good cops. So I'm just gonna kind of flip through some of these and show you what we're working with. You got a stencil here. This is cool, iconic photo. Looks like maybe that was a multi-layer stencil. But you can see how people are really using these things as absolute just full sticker, full pieces of art, and holy crap, like, people are so good. Just gonna flip through a couple of the pages here. I really want to encourage anybody who is into something like this to support a project like this. This is a time capsule. And you're gonna, if you're into graffiti at all, if you're into, you know, following where graffiti artists transition from, you know, graffiti to sticker art to vinyl toys to a million other things, like, it's really cool to get something like this and see all the various people in there that you know from other ventures or other things that you may already be into. So I don't want to flip through every page. I want to encourage you guys to go out and support this project. I'm a big fan of it. This one is incredible. Look at this. No wonder it got 2 pages. This is an absolute incredible sticker. Let me just flip through a couple more in the back here. Fantastic. Look at this. I mean, that's borderline fine art as well. Art has just, like, gotten so crazy. To see people doing things like this just on a sticker, I mean, it's not quite as in your face as graffiti, and I know there's a lot of mixed feelings on graffiti. Murals are one thing, but walking down the street and seeing tags and stuff like that, you either do or don't like it. But having people put time into a custom sticker like this, you have to look at this as an original piece of art. So when they're slapping that up there, they're putting it out into the world. There's no return on that. It's just, that's for somebody else to appreciate as they walk down the street. It's not like getting a roll of 1,000 of the same thing. These are all unique and individual. And even if they create the same design 100 times, it's gonna be slight variances. There's gonna be slight variances in all 100 of them. So guys, I wanna hear what you think of this. I'm hoping you like it as much as I do. Let me know what other types of things you would like to see from my channel. I am huge into collecting anything adjacent to graffiti, so I have other stuff coming. I have a custom toy coming from RWK. I cannot wait to unbox that. I hope you'll consider subscribing. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Peace.